Hi, this podcast is brought to you by Ignition from Inductive Automation. This is Gary Minchell. This is my 151st podcast. Sounds like a lot, but over all the years I've been doing it, I haven't been all that regular about it. Behind me, you'll see the what they call the technology show or the trade show part of the Siemens Automation Summit. I am at the Aria Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. But this podcast really has not much to do with Siemens. I just happen to be here, and it's time to record. So, what I'll just do a really quick little report. What I've learned the most from Siemens during this couple of day trip. It's a really short trip. I spent like two full days at least at Hanover with Siemens, but they have a product, kind of a product, or what they're calling a platform, called MindSphere, and this is a cloud, so it's technology in the cloud, and it is going to incorporate an app store, pretty much like the Apple App Store or the Android, I think it's called Play Store. But it will be basically for little vertical applications, if you will, or apps for doing some piece of technology, like data analytics in a specific part for some kind of process that you have going on. And I'll write more about that as they flesh it out. It's not fleshed out yet. I mean, internally it is, but as far as like you can buy it, nah. Soon. But actually what I wanted to talk about was a follow-up to my last podcast, which is all about a book by Dr. Henry Cloud called The Power of the Other, and how other people affect you in your life and in your job. And you all sort of know that, but what he was really trying to do was point out different types of connections that you have, and some of the good connections and bad connections of people, and with the and how to handle it, and that sort of thing. I actually did 4 books in the space of a couple of weeks, all on productivity and relationships and so on. And the next book is by Cal, C-A-L, Newport, and it's called Deep Work, Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World. And it's really important. We've all got all of our gizmos and everything, and so we're totally distracted. And it's so easy. Just pick up your phone, check Facebook, or pick up your phone, check email, pick up your phone and look at text messages. And while I'm strolling around in Las Vegas in the hotel and so on, it's an amazing dynamic I observe, and it's couples, but it's almost always here the woman in the couple, and most of them are younger. Well, everybody's young to me, but maybe 20s, maybe 30s, probably no older than 30s, where they're sitting at Starbucks or someplace, and the woman is like gone through her text messages because they got to be connected. Well, it's a distraction, and we're all distracted. But are you distracted at work? That's the real question that we want to discuss here, is more like your working life. And let's throw it back to the basics of why you need to think about the type of work you do, and we'll get back into deep work, D-E-E-P, which is what his focus is. And what Newport says in his initial justifications and so on for discussing this whole topic has to do with your personal competitiveness in this new economy. Now, we always have a new economy, so the economy's new again. And he basically, and I've had this discussion with online with some pretty high-powered people about what's the future of work. Are we going to have jobs, or is there any reason for human beings at all? We'll just automate everything, and there'll be. And I don't believe that, because I think there's always a place for human creativity and human work. And yes, we can automate a lot of stuff, but then we can do a lot of stuff too. So that's my philosophy on life. And basically Newport says to remain valuable in our economy, you must master the art of quickly learning complicated things, and that requires deep work. Now, he goes through in the introduction, and he basically says deep work, And let's just differentiate. Deep work is juxtaposed to shallow work. Deep work is valuable. If you can really get into deep work, you become much more valuable. Your work is more valuable. You are more valuable. Deep work is rare because we're so distracted that most of the time we're just like answering emails, looking at text messages, chatting, things like that. That's shallow work. Deep work is thinking. It's where you do research and you get totally engrossed in what you're doing and you're focused and you're researching and writing and thinking and that sort of thing. And that is deep work, and that produces value. Answering emails almost never produces value. He also says deep work is rare, so it's valuable, it's rare, and it's meaningful because of the way you're working on it. You are going to be doing meaningful work as opposed to just shallow work where you're just answering stuff and just involved in conversations you don't even need to be involved in, and so on. He has 3 rules, and so the division of his book is defining deep work and then the 4 rules for getting into deep work. And one is you must work deeply. You must embrace boredom, which is weird. You must quit social media, and you must do what he calls drain the shallows. So let me go back a little bit. So work deeply. Focus on something, and it may not be. He talked about writing his book. He just said, okay, I will work from 6 o'clock in the morning until 10. And in that period of time, I will do nothing but work on this book. And by focusing for some period of time every day, he was able to get it done. That's focusing on deep work. That's writing the book is valuable to his career. It's valuable to actually people like me that read it, and so on. So that's working deeply. Embrace boredom. Sometimes it's good to just sit and stare. Earl Nightingale, a guy I used to listen to, talked a story about a little boy who was just sitting in the classroom staring out the window and just lost, totally lost. And pretty soon the teacher stopped teaching and started staring at him, and the class picked on it because he's just an elementary kid, and they started like giggling and stuff. And then pretty soon the kid realized that he was the center of attention, and he got a little embarrassed, and the teacher said, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Thinking." And the teacher says, "Don't you know you're not supposed to think in school?" Well, that was an oops. But a lot of your creativity and the things that you come up with, new ideas and so on, come out of being bored and just sitting around and mind not on anything, and then the ideas come to you, stuff that's been festering in the back of your mind for a long time. Quit social media because it is distracting. I wind up getting on Facebook because I'm doing Facebook marketing for retail business, and so that gets me sucked into looking at my news stream a little bit. But most of the time, there's really nothing new on my news stream. I kind of scan real fast to get off of it. People put on all kinds of political stuff that's totally untrue. It's just unbelievable. In fact, it's not just political stuff, religious stuff, and other stuff. It's not thought out. It's just they just pass along because it sounds cute or they happen to agree with it. Never check facts. I mean, I just have no time for that. So I've mostly cut out Facebook. So that works out. Then I really don't do much on Twitter. I broadcast on Twitter, but I don't read a lot on Twitter. The flow goes so fast that how are you supposed to do that? And the tools aren't good. Twitter got rid of some of their competitors, and as far as like tools for lists and so on. So I really don't do a lot of Twitter either. I scan it occasionally and have a couple of alerts. That's all. Drain the Shallows. He talks about a company called 37 Signals, owned by Jason Fried, who's written a couple of books. And they decided at some point in time to go from 5 8-hour days to 4 days. And he really wrote it up. We went to 4 days. And somebody at Forbes wrote, because Forbes is so smart, and wrote and said, well, 4 10-hour days are unproductive because the last 2 hours in a 10-hour day. He says, no, you don't understand. It's 4 8-hour days. What you do is you wind up cutting out the fat. You cut out the shallow work. This work that's not meaningful. And he says, nobody works 8 hours a day anyway. It's hard to do, and you get up, you do this and that and everything. So let's just compress our time that we actually do work, and then go get bored or go jet ski or whatever the heck. So anyway, he he looks at that. Um, he talks about to succeed, you have to produce the absolute best stuff you're capable of producing in a task that requires depth. And this ability is becoming increasingly rare and increasingly valuable. And so, he gets along on that. And, very important stuff. The thing to tell your young people, the little kids and the kids growing up and kids in high school and college even, um, two core abilities that are going to get you ahead as in this newer economy, this changed economy that we're in, and will be around for a while. One is the ability to quickly master hard things, and the other thing is to produce at an elite level in terms of both quality and speed. So the ability to master hard things, which requires deep thinking, and the ability to perform at an elite level. Not 24 hours a day. You perform at an elite level for a block of time, and it's amazing how productive you can be when you do that. I've practiced something similar to that for many years. Focus on something for a while, get up, wander around, and then take a deep breath, go back, refocus because I'm on something else now, and so I do that. So the book is Deep Work, Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World, and the author is Cal Newport, and I highly recommend it. And I highly recommend not just reading it, but digesting it, kind of like the other. Digest this, incorporate it, and see how you can incorporate it in your life. Can I set aside some blocks to do really important, deep thinking work, and then set aside a block where maybe I'm not as productive, maybe early afternoon or something like that. And then what you do is you answer emails and some of the stuff, and maybe you can find a way to pare down the emails. I used to feel I had to respond to everybody that comes across with an idea of an article or a pitch or something, and pretty soon it's like, why? They're impinging on my time with stuff, and a lot of times they don't even know what I write about. It's totally off the wall. Why should I waste any of my time? So it's just like delete, 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 and so on. So just take care of that shallow work in a hurry. So anyway, deep work. Another productivity tip. This is Gary Minchell, and this podcast is brought to you by Ignition from Inductive Automation. Have a good day.